What is happening? Here we go. I want to show you guys this because what I've done is I've got this dry erase board up here and I wrote everything that you kind of need to know to build a guitar. So if you haven't done this stuff before, you should check this out. You know, maybe stop frame, write it down. I'll go over everything step by step, but I'm going to kind of blast through it relatively quickly. But this is all the kind of stuff you need to know. I've kind of got it broken into three sections. The design section, tooling up, getting ready to do the stuff, and then actually making the instrument. Okay, so I'm going to point these things out as I go. So up here we got the great guitar, build-off guitar. So that's the first thing I got up on there. So what I need to do is I need to figure out the design on this thing. So design, who is my player and what is their style? You know, Flav La Flav, what are they gonna do with this guitar? Well, it's pretty open. I'm gonna keep it relatively simple and kind of somewhat normal, you know, because I don't know who that is, who's ever gonna buy this thing in auction, right? So the next thing I'll do is figure out the body and headstock shape. I'll figure out the fretboard scale length and width. You know, what am I going for? Gibson, Fender, PRS. You know, what am I trying to hit? Then I'll do my electronics configuration. You know, how many pickups are going to be in the thing, how many pots are in it, what the switches are, the output jack, all of that kind of stuff I'm going to get in my head and start figuring it out. Then also the hardware, you know, what is my bridge parameters? Because this is really key. Knowing your bridge parameters is key, especially if you're doing something like a neck through or something. You got to know how high that bridge will go, how low that bridge will go, and where, you know, how you can set your pitch on your neck. So that's the next thing I got down there is the neck pitch. You know, how am I going to do that? Am I doing a set neck? Am I doing a bolt on? Am I doing a neck through? You know, what am I doing? You know, the tuners, you know, I want to figure out what they're going to be, the knobs, the pickup rings, the output jack plate, and, you know, what kind of fret wire am I using. So I'm going to be thinking about all of that stuff right off the bat, because if I don't have the stuff, I can't finish the guitar, right? So anyway, the next thing I'm going to figure out after I've got my shape and everything designed is, you know, what is my wood selection? What kind of tone am I going for? Am I going for a soft wood? Do I want a really beefy body, you know, bottom end fill guitar, or do I want something, you know, that's, you know, shred and make your ears bleed? Again, probably gonna go for something middle of the road. I'm thinking like a swamp ash center, maybe a really cool walnut top on it, something like that. It's my dogs. What can you do? Anyway, you know, so I want to figure out the wood selection, the tone, you know, body, neck, what is the top going to be, what's going to be on the back, is there head cap, is there any laminates, you know, what am I going to make my fretboard out of, that kind of stuff. So that's really my main, you know, all of the parts that I need for the guitar. That's what I'm going to nail down pretty quickly. The rest of this stuff is sort of incidental for the end. I mean, it has a big part of it, but also, hold on one second, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. You like that? I go out one side, come in the other. It's friggin' magic, man. Anyway, so the next thing I'm going to think about, and again, this stuff is important, is my inlay. You know, what am I going to do for my side dots? You know, finish, is it going to be color? Is it going to be clear? Am I going to oil the neck? You know, something that I'm going to love, you know, and that's really key, something that I really dig. I used to build a lot of instruments for other people, you know, kind of whatever their parameters were. And I did a lot of that stuff, and I gotta tell you, it wasn't that fun. They had some pretty crazy ideas, and I built it for them. But at the same time, you know, when it was all said and done, I didn't really feel like it was a mud guitar as attached to it as I should be. Now I just build stuff that I really love, and hopefully cats dig it, you know. That's what I'm going for. All right, cool. So really, this is the design of the guitar, this whole first section. That's what kind of I'm going to need to actually do the drawing, which is going to be the next part of this deal here. Okay, so once I've done that, now let's start talking about, you know, how we figure out what we have to do and the tooling and the templating and everything we need to do to get the guitar together. So first off, I'm going to lay out the body. I'm going to, have that drawing, and I'm going to come up with a really cool shape, something that I like, something that's appealing. And this can take a while because I'll do a drawing and I'll let it sit overnight, and I'll come back and I'll look at it. I mean, I'll move lines an eighth of an inch here, quarter inch there. I want something that looks right, looks appealing to me. And when I walk up to it, I got to go, cool. If I walk up to it and I go, then I probably need to fix something on it. And that's just kind of the way I look at it. So once I've got the body laid out, I'll do the pickups. I'll figure out where they're going to go, what types of pickups. I've already figured that out, but where I'm going to actually place them in the body. And then where my control cavity is, which is going to accept all of my pots and switches, stuff like that. And then a neck pocket, is there a neck pocket? Is it a neck through? What am I actually doing? I need to know what's happening there. And then where's my output jack? If you look at all the mud guitars, I put my output jack, I put like a Strat style jack kind of pointing up towards the end of the strap button so you can fish your, anyway, you'll see. And then comfort carbs, how fat am I? How much do I want to rub the inside of my arm on the guitar? These are all kinds of things I'll figure out. Am I doing a tremolo? I will say no right now, and I'll tell you why. Because Floyds are cool, Floyds stay in tune, Bigsby's don't. Some of the Wilkinson Strat style things are pretty decent. You put a lock and nut on there, and if you keep them kind of hammered down, or where they'll lock out all the way back down, it's okay. Just not my flavor. And plus, I'm going to make a really beautiful top, and I don't want to cut a big old hole in it. So probably not going to do a tremolo. Once I've got all this stuff figured out, all of the holes that I actually have to put in the body, the next thing I'm going to do is just make sure I have routing templates. Now, I've got a really good guy here in Arizona. His name's Al. He makes a bunch of templates and stuff for me, and I will put his, here, I'll do it right here. Here we go. This is his website right here, and if you need templates or any kind of stuff like that for building guitars, you can get a hold of Al, okay? Anyway, he's a cool dude. All right, so, I'm going to have my templates together. I'll have my router bits together. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about this conventional and climb cutting. And really, it has to do with grain direction and run out. When you've got a board and your grain is running out, one way or the other, that's going to determine which way you approach it with a router. That router is spinning. And if my router is spinning, let's say it's spinning clockwise and I'm coming along this grain, it will have a tendency to kind of tear things. So there's a way to kind of back route this and prevent from tearing out. Anyway, when I start doing that stuff, actually physically doing it, I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then once I've got all that stuff, what am I going to put it down with? I'm going to need some sort of good double-sided tape and or clamps. Some guys will screw their templates onto the body in places where it won't show up after the fact. But we got to figure that out. I got to have a router. And I like to have Forstner bits. And what the Forstner bits are is that flat kind of face bit with a little point in the center. So you can mow out most of the material. You're not routing out everything. You're removing most of the material. And then if there's any little chunks after I use the Forstner bit, I'll get a chisel and just kind of knock those out of there. And then, so I think we're getting ready. So that's pretty much all the stuff I need. So now at this point right here where the purple starts, I'm talking about building the guitar. And all of the rest of this stuff is really building the guitar. So again, if you cats are digging this stuff, if you want to get into this stuff, hopefully this will help you. All right, so route the body core chambers. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that nice swamp ash core, but I'm going to chamber it out because I'm going to do F-holes. So I'm going to want some chambers in there so the F-holes are kind of blacked out from behind. And or I'm just not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. We'll go over that when I get to the design process here. So then if I got a separate top, I'll probably route the F-holes in that separately. Not sure if I'm going to do a back layer on there. I have the opportunity to do all kinds of laminates here, and I might do something cool, but I don't want to get gouty, you know what I mean? So at that point, once I've got those done, then I'll glue those layers together. That would be the next point. And then I'll rough out the neck blank. So I got to have my neck together because I got to make a neck pocket, right? So I need to know what I'm doing. So I'm not completely opposed to the neck through at this point, but I'll figure it out. So the neck blank, cut the truss rod slot. So once the neck is blanked out, while it's still nice and square on both sides, that's when you want to cut the truss rod slot. That'll help you keep it centered on there. And then I'll make the fretboard. I want to make sure that I have that done. So slot, arch the fretboard, and that, you know, so then I'll need my fret templates. I'll have to have my, know what my scale length and everything is. And then once I've done that, I will pin the fretboard to the neck. And at that point, I'll know how that projection of that neck comes out towards the neck end. And then I will, I'll rough out the headstock and the neck heel. Okay, and that's in the case that I'm actually going to do some kind of a set neck or a bolt-on. Probably not a bolt-on, usually not my flavor. But if I do a set neck, it's the same thing. I still got to create the end of that neck, and I've got to create the pocket in the guitar. So I'll get all that stuff done. So the next thing I'll do is once I've got the neck roughed out and I've got that heel buttoned up, then I'll route the neck pocket in the guitar, and that's if it's a set neck and or a bolt-on. I'll get that on there, make sure that's all cool, make a real nice template for it, and route that out. Then I'll do the pickup and the control cavities, okay? The thing is that on a lot of set necks, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a tongue that kind of comes up under there, usually under the neck pickup. Gives it a little bit more of a glue surface. And so you want to make sure that you route the neck pocket first, and then if you would get your neck glued in, and then you would route your pickup cavities. Then your control cavity can come from behind. Some guys will actually route the pickup cavities first, and then after the neck is in, they'll kind of reset that and reroute it. So we'll see what happens there. Again, once I figure out the design, this will be in a more chronological order. It's pretty close now, but you know, it'll be closer. So then the output jack, you know, do I need to route that out or drill it? If I do my standard Strat style thing, it's going to be a route, not a drill. And then the comfort carves, you know. Again, you know, do I want that belly carve? Do I want that elbow carve? What's happening with this thing? Make it nice and comfy. That's the big deal. Okay, so then let's say I'm gluing that neck on, so I want to fit the neck. I want to check the neck pitch, and this is critical, and this goes all the way back to those bridge parameters. Okay, so if I knew my bridge parameters early on, then I should have routed my pockets and created that neck heel all ready to kind of compensate for what I'm trying to do there with the neck pitch. Okay, so I'll clamp that in. I'll make sure my side to side is correct, my vertical is correct. So let's say I get my neck done. Let's say I'm doing a bolt-on. Now I got two separate pieces, right? Or let's say I'm doing a set neck and I gotta glue those things together, right? Either way, before I do that, sand, 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 sand. You're gonna sand to oblivion, because I don't screw around with any scratches, man. I'm not gonna, I mean, it just needs to be nice, you know. I take it out in the sunshine. I used to tell my students, I said, sand till you think it's done, and then bring it to me and I'll tell you why you're not, you know. You bring it out in that sunshine, you look at it, you'll see all those little scratches. And just the progression of sandpapers, the finer and finer sandpapers, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's the way that works, you know. And if you make it really nice and you do your prep work, man, it's like painting a car. Do all your prep work. The painting part's the easy part. Prepping it's the tough part. So just, you know, just spend your time sanding, you know, really get that wood nice up, because there's a couple of things I'll talk about when we get to the finish, but it's important. So once I've done all that sanding on the detached parts, then I'll do my pre-assembly. And what I'm talking about is, you know, wire chases, anything I need to drill for those wires to get through. I'm going to clean those up, you know, drill through the body, because a lot of times, excuse me, before that neck goes on, you want to drill that hole all the way up through that neck cavity so you got a wire chase for your pickups. I'm not sure exactly what my configuration is going to be, but more than likely I'll have to do that. And then at that point, once I've already pre-assembled the thing, I know all my pickups fit and all that kind of stuff, then I'll go ahead and attach the neck and the body. So then I'll get those two things glued together, ready to go, let them sit overnight. One of my dogs is here. Off she goes. She's like, what the heck are you doing, you weirdo? Talking to nobody. Anyway, pre-assembly wire, attach the neck and body. And then once I've done that, once I've attached the neck and body, then I'm going to shape the transition between the body and the neck. If I'm doing any extra carving, if I don't want to heel there and I want that thing just to slide up, then I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that transition. And I'm going to make tapioca pudding. Somebody put this in here for me. I don't know that I know how to make tapioca pudding. Send me a recipe. I don't friggin' know. But anyway, what the heck? Let's make some. Sounds like a good break in this thing. So now after we've eaten our pudding, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about inlays, side markers, and fretwork. Because now I've got the body all glued together. I've done that transition into the neck. I've, did I have it on? Oh yeah, after I did the transition, I sanded to clean that up. Now I'm going to do my inlay work on the face of the fretboard or the body or the headstock, whatever I'm going to do it on. I'm going to do my little side markers on the side of the fretboard. Then I will do my fretwork. I'll go ahead and get all my frets knocked in there and cleaned up and filed and all that kind of stuff, and get those in there. And then it's back to sanding. And this is really the important part here is, you know, sand, 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 sand. We're going to do a bunch of sanding just to make sure that thing is, you know, just nice. It's got to be nice, right? And then once I've done all that and I'm ready, you know, I'll probably take a break because my hands will be tired from sanding the thing, you know. And the next day I'll come out, take a really good look at it, see if there's any touch-up I need to do on it, and then I'll tape it off, you know. So I'll say, all right, time to tape off the fretboard, okay? And then I'm going to probably let that sit back. I'm going to take a really good look at it and figure out exactly what I think the best finish for that thing is going to be. All right, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about finish. Hey, all right, so let's talk about finish now. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I have some options. I could do lacquer, I could do UV poly, I could do French polish. I'm a big fan of French polish on my acoustic instruments. I really like the way it sounds, and I don't think pouring a big coat of lacquer on my acoustic instruments it's just not my flavor. I don't dig it, right? So I ain't going to do it. I do have a UV polyester setup also. So on the electric guitar, maybe not so much of a big deal. I don't think it'll affect it. It doesn't affect it that much to put, you know, lacquer or polyester on there, except it's really more protective. You spill your whiskey on French polish, the French polish goes away. So if you're a big whiskey drinker, French polish may not be your thing, right? I guess it depends how much you drink too if you start spilling. So, all right. So besides that, once I've figured out what I'm going to do, I would do a clear coat on there, get the guitar relatively flat, and then I would do my color work over top of that. If I'm spraying a color on or a toner, whatever, I could do that over after I've got the guitar pretty flat, and then I can't sand, don't sand anything after that, and then I would clear coat after that. When I know I've got enough buildup of that clear coat, I would sand that flat and then buff it out. Now, dry time. So, you know, with the lacquers and stuff, you're looking at, you know, you're looking at a fair amount of dry time, you know. I would say, you know, 8 to 10 days on that stuff for sure by the end, because you really want those layers to vape off. Make sure it's shrunk all that it's going to shrink, and then you can sand it out. Now with the UV poly, this doesn't come into play except for the color work in between, but the UV poly it's almost instant, you know. I spray that stuff on there over a course of an hour, a few coats, hit it with the light, it's done. You're ready to sand and buff. But, you know, that's a whole setup you got to do, and you got to be super careful. You got to be covered head to toe. That UV poly is noxious. You got to have the respirator, and you got to be wearing clothes completely covered, because that 1500 light will nuke your if you hit yourself with that light, it'll nuke you. You'll have sunburn really, really bad. So anyway, let's move on, mud. Enough of that jibber jabber. So all right, so dry times, then I would sand it and buff, and then I would start doing my installation. And I would, put my tuning machines in, mount my bridge. This is up for debate. You can put these in any way you want to. Some people probably want to put their pickups in and stuff first. But I put my tuning machines in, mount my bridge, make sure that my scale length is correct, that I'm getting my compensation correct, that my bridge parameters have moved. Now, I should have already done that back here where I did my pre-assembly, but you want to double check it. So I'll put my bridge on, and then I'll get my pickups mounted, my pots. I'll run all my wires through, get all my switches, my output jack, and and then do all my soldering, and then test any troubleshooting I need to do once that thing's all soldered up, and then that's good to go. Then finally what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll do my level crown and polish. Hopefully my fret work is good enough that I'm not doing a bunch of that. The difference is once you string a guitar up, it's really interesting. You can do all your leveling work, and then once you string the guitar up, hopefully you get that consistent kind of logarithmic curve in the neck. You get that proper amount of relief. But sometimes there's dense parts of the neck, soft parts of the neck, and that thing may not curve up exactly perfectly. You may have a high fret or a low fret here or there. So once you string the thing up, you're going to want to go back and just double check, make sure it's playing okay. That's pretty much it. And then I would do the final setup and, make the control cavity cover on the back, and then I'm done, yeah. And then, jam out, and you gotta rock and roll. So that's the big part. And I think that's what all of this is about, is that part there. So anyway, this is all the stuff you got to think about when you're going to build a guitar. And it's cool, it's all good. You just got to run this shit through your head and say, all right, man, this is what I'm going to do. So if this is helpful for you, cool. I'm glad I ran over it. And stay tuned, because I'm getting ready to do the design now. So my next step is do the design, and I'll have you guys sit in on that too. So I'll get switched around, get to the drawing table, so to speak, and do it. Groovy, baby. I'll see y'all later.